Oh, we're on my camera. Salutations. All right. Salutations. 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 Thank you for joining me today. I am Maria. This is Lovepraypaint, and today we are going to be doing another fall-inspired painting. And we are going to be painting a vintage-style farmhouse pumpkin painting. So if you have farmhouse decor, you will really like this. We will also be doing some crafting. We're going to be making a frame for a painting. So if you like this painting, please stick with me and paint. Please hit the like and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. So if you hit the notification bell, you'll know when all of my new videos come out. And follow me at Lovepraypaint on Twitter and Instagram. And you can follow me on Facebook. I'll have a link for that. And let's get painting. We are going to be doing our vintage inspired pumpkin, and the supplies you're going to need are obviously a canvas. I'm just using a canvas pad, and I cut it into an 8x10. And the colors we're going to be using today, I might add a couple. I'm pretty sure these are just the base colors we're going to be using throughout the whole tutorial. Mars Black, Burnt Umber, Titanium White. In addition to the paint, I'm going to be testing out this glass fluid medium. I don't normally use this. I just use water, but I thought, why not give it a shot? I've used it in the past, and it does make it easier to paint. I just don't find it necessary to purchase something extra. All right, and you will also be needing paintbrushes. The size doesn't really matter. That's what she said. I'm just going to be using smaller brushes. You can really use any style brush you want. I wouldn't use anything too large because we're going to be doing some detail work, so that doesn't really matter. I will let you know once we get to the canvas what brushes I'm using. You'll need some water and some paper towels, and you will also need some sticks. Yes, you heard me right. Some sticks. Ooh, a hot glue gun. A kindergarten teacher's best friend. I'm not a kindergarten teacher. I just thought that was a funny joke, which is probably not. Anyway, yes, we'll need some hot glue or super glue or some kind of glue that dries fast. Or if you only have Elmer's glue, you can use that, but you'll have to find a way for it to dry fast or to hold together. Anyway, so those are the things you will be needing. So thanks for meeting me at Palette. I'm trying to do this a little bit differently. I know it's like super close up, but since I feel like you can't really see what I'm painting half the time when I paint, so I was trying to just do the canvas, but it's not zoomed in far enough, where it could just be the canvas, but we'll just work with what we got. So, right now we're going to be making a face, like half my face. We're going to be making a gray. I have indigestion, gross. We're going to be making a gray color right now, a nice light gray. And what we're going to be doing, we're going to be making this look like a wooden plank, like board, you know, like a barn wall, kind of really distressed, just like sort of planks of wood. We did this in this painting back here a couple weeks ago. We're going to be doing the same technique, but we're going to be using different colors, and we're going to be doing gray instead of the blue, obviously. So we are just gonna mix us up a gray color. I want the darker gray in the back, and then we'll be doing the lighter gray for a kind of like, you know, that kind of rustic look. So I just wanted this to be a more muted palette, so it would be more universal for more people's homes, or wherever if you want to give this to somebody, or if you want to decorate for fall with it. That's what I wanted to do. Hey, bud. Look who came to visit us, Nate. All right, so we're just going to mix up not a dark gray, but a medium gray. And you're just going to want to take a tiny bit of black to make your gray. You don't want too much black in there because then it's going to be too dark. Eli, you can't stand in front of the camera. What are you doing, bud? Okay. Can you go upstairs and play in your playroom? Okay, and then this is kind of the gray I'm looking for. That looks really light on there. Once it gets down on the palette, you'll see what I'm talking about. So we are just going to do, and if you don't want to like mix this all the way, it'll make this process easier. just kind of dab in the white and the black, and then it'll kind of mix for you onto your palette. And you can take some of that glazing fluid and mix in there so it's easier to get across to your canvas. Can you go upstairs, bud? So it's easier to go across your canvas instead of just using water. I do have a clipboard here, obviously, so my paper will stand up straight. There's like string attached to that. I have no idea what's up with that. You're going to want to carry yours all the way up to the top of your canvas. I am just going to stop right here because I want this to be an 8 by 10. So it doesn't matter that I have that like that. Anyway, and I'm just going to keep mixing in a little bit of my glazing fluid. And this also makes the paint more transparent. So if you're mixing this into a dark color, it won't be as opaque. Okay, if there is some variance in your color, like if this is darker than that because you want it to look like aged wood, like let's say you had an old barn door and you painted it white and then the paint underneath faded. You're going to go in with either, you can go in with just white or an even lighter gray color. I'll probably just go in with white. You want to do this while this is a little bit wet still. You really don't want it to dry very much. And we're going to go in and make it kind of rough it up a little, make it look, like I said, a little more rustic. And you can do this with, if you want to do the darker color, you can. I'm just going to do the lighter color because that's what I want to do. And yeah, you're just going to go in and make, you know, some streaks here and there. And I probably will go in with a little bit of the darker color just because it'll give it more depth. It's always a good thing, you know, to have depth in your painting. It makes it look more realistic. You don't have to be too fussy with this, just kind of brush them on wherever. And I'm kind of mixing in some of that fluid paint just so, this is driving me crazy. It keeps kind of like falling right there. I'll probably tape that. Although my son hid the tape. Okay. So hopefully you can see this. And yeah, just kind of go in wherever you want to put your little kind of rough marks, whatever you want to call them. Just, you're just stressing your painting. And with just the black, oh no, apparently I'm not. With just the black, because I want to kind of give this a little more depth. And I'm just going to kind of do what I did with the white and just kind of go here and there with it. I don't want to go too crazy with this just because I want to keep this pretty light. The overall painting, I want it to feel really light. But it'll mix in and it'll just turn to a dark gray. I just want a little more, yeah, a little more depth in it. And if you don't have that glossing, or what the heck is this? Gloss fluid medium. Hello. If you don't have that, just use water. That's what I usually do. I just thought I'd test it out just because I, you know, I don't know. I figure, you know, if I'm going to sell these, which I usually do, it's okay to invest a little into your materials. This is actually going to be kind of hard if I sold this because this is on a freaking, not on a regular canvas. Anyway, if all you have is a stretched canvas, you can still do this with the sticks. You're just going to have to put them on the outsides, like where it's wrapped around, like on the edge right here, if you can see this. You put it on the edge instead of on the front. I don't know why I'm talking about the sticks right now, but just thought of it. If you're not good at drawing a straight line, or you know, you have some trouble with that, you can either use a ruler and a piece of chalk to draw a straight line, but you're going to want to dry this first. That's why I'm saying this. You're going to want to take a blow dryer, or you're just going to want to wait. You're going to want to wait like 5 to 10 minutes, or just take your blow dryer for like a minute and blow dry this until it's completely dry. So you can either take like masking tape or painter's tape, and that's what I did on the last one. You know, so you get a nice crisp line, and then you're going to take your black or your dark gray or whatever, however you want to do it, and draw the line right on the tape. You know, so you can, when you pull the tape off, it'll have a nice crisp line. Or, like I said, you can do the ruler and the chalk, so you'll just take your ruler and draw your, you know, chalk across, and then after you do that, you'll take your black paint or your dark gray or whatever color. You can use any colors doing this. You don't have to do gray. If you want to do red, that would be beautiful. Red and black or red and brown. That would be really pretty. You know, any color you can think of. You can do it with green, you can do it with orange, whatever floats your boat. See, I did that one with blue. And what you're going to do is you're going to go over the chalk line that you drew with your paint, with your darker paint. I'm going to freehand it. we're going to keep our fingers crossed that I don't mess this up. It's not really going to matter because this has a distressed look anyway. If you hear that crying, that's my son. Okay, so, and this is where, okay, when you're doing stuff, excuse me, when you're doing stuff like this, this is where this fluid, the glass fluid medium, I cannot say that. Whatever. Okay, so that's where that comes in really handy, is when you're trying to do stuff like this or like detail work. It can be kind of difficult because your brush sometimes, like especially when your paint is drying and you don't wait for your paint to dry all the way, your brush can get stuck. It'll get like stuck when you're going across the paint. So let's just give this the old, is that college try, freshman try? I don't know that saying. Okay. So I don't really, there's no rhyme or reason of like how big I want these. You can measure yours out if you want, or you could like start in the middle. I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna go probably about 1/4 of the way down, and I'm just going to try to draw a straight line. And like I said, if it doesn't work out, and this can be thicker. It doesn't really matter if it's thicker or thinner. And then if you kind of screw up like that, you're just gonna clean off your brush. Gonna go back into your gray mixture that you had going, like touch it up. You just do this instead to like make it a little more even if you screwed up your line. So see, it's an easy fix. So you don't really have to like go in with chalk or anything if you don't want to. I'm not really that concerned that this is a little bit wonky because we're going to be going over this. You know, we're going to be drawing our pumpkins and we're going to do some writing, which is not my strong suit. I don't know why I like write on these every single time. I'm not, you know, I do not have the best penmanship. You know what I should do? I should take a calligraphy class. Okay, so let's just go back into our fluid, into our black, and do it again. Make sure there's not too much paint. And it does make it easier if you have one of these angled. This is Simply Simmons. This is the angled 3/8 angled Simply Simmons. I find that it's easier to get like a straight line when I use an angled brush versus like a straight brush or like a liner brush. Like if I try to go across this with a liner brush, if I don't do a chalk line or if I don't have like something to like guide me, like the brush, I don't know, like it's better because this is firmer or stiffer than this. It's like very flexible. So my line will be all, I mean, this is great for branches or something like that if you're doing that, but or writing, that's great for writing as well. But if you're doing something where you want to do straight lines, that, you know, something like that's not necessarily like, don't use a detail brush. Well, for me, I don't like using a detail brush when I'm doing something like this. And I've said this time and time again, the harder you press, the thicker your line. I don't really care if my lines are thick on this because it's supposed to look like wooden planks. So I'm not worried about that. And I think it adds to the charm if it looks a little wonky anyway. So if your paper is wanting to move around on you, just go ahead and grab it and hold it down. I want these a little bit, I'll try to get them kind of equal. See, like this one looks like it got a little bit away from me. So I'm just gonna like continue it like down here. And then what I'm gonna do, like I did before, is go into like my gray mixture that I had, and that was way too much. I was trying to like, I was trying to, what the heck was I saying? I have no idea. Yeah, so if it gets too thick or gets a little wonky, just go back through and straighten it up. Pretty easy peasy. Still looks wonky. But that's okay. I'm not really that worried about it. It's probably just gonna get covered up anyway. Alrighty. So we'll do probably just one more. Make sure you have enough of that either water or your glossing medium so that since this is getting pretty dry right now, you really don't want your brush to get stuck. And I'm going to try to make it pretty even just by eyeballing it. That was not even. Look at how high that went. So we're going to fix that one now too. I'm just going to paint over it. The whole thing. Not the whole thing, but where it started going up on me. So then you're going to go back in your black paint and just fix it as much as you can, at least. Oh no! Okay, that looks a little more even. Not really, but that's okay. Okay, so once you have these done, you are going to want to let this dry completely before you move on to the next step, which is going to be doing our little pumpkins, and we're going to be doing white pumpkins. It's going to be super fun. So just go ahead and either dry this with a blow dryer or just wait for it to air dry. We'll be doing our pumpkins next. Okay, so my canvas is dry. I just got myself this cup of coffee. It has an N on it. It's for Nate. My name's not Nate, but I'm using it anyway, even though it's Nate's. Anyway, I got this coffee, the Starbucks classic caramel coffee, and then I mix it with that, what is that brand? I don't remember what the brand is, but it's like some pumpkin spice, white girl pumpkin spice creamer. Excuse me for saying that. I can say that because I'm white. Anyway. Pretty delicious. Okay, enough for my Starbucks commercial. Starbucks plays on Sunday. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, so now that our canvas is dry, we can go in and make our pumpkin. I'm using a reference photo, but you guys can't see it because I'm going to get copyright infringement because I took it off a website that I wasn't supposed to. Google. I'm just kidding. Not funny. Hoorah. Okay, so we are going to be doing these pumpkins in white. I'm going to switch my palette, my paper plate. We're going to be making white pumpkins. I wasn't in the mood for orange. I'm in the mood for white pumpkins because I want this to be kind of like farmhousey. So I don't even have farmhouse decor. I don't really know what inspired me to do this, but I wanted it to be like kind of like vintagey sort of feel to it. Something that like, you know, would be cool for years, not just right now. Cool for years. I'm going to switch to my brush. I'm not going to use that big one. I'm going to just be using a number 5 flat. This is Master's Touch number 5 flat. I'm going to first just go in with the white and draw my pumpkin out. If you want, you know what, actually I'm going to do this too. I'm going to go in with my chalk and draw my pumpkins out just because I don't really want to screw this up because I actually want to hang it in my own house. Making sure my paint's all the way dry. That's super important because if you're going to go in on top of your wet, excuse this crazy hair, I don't know what's going on with this. I was trying to do like bangs, but I couldn't obviously do bangs because my hair's too long. Where am I? If you're going to do this, make sure your paint is 100% dry because if you go in with chalk and then, excuse me for hunching over, if you go in with chalk and it's not 100% dry, you're going to be like peeling the paint up. So you really want to make sure make sure this is dry. You can kind of place your pumpkins wherever you want. I was gonna probably put them like, probably right about like here-ish. I don't know. Do I want to put them that lit? Do I want to put them that low? Yeah. I don't have this mirrored, so this will be on your opposite side. But it doesn't really matter. I mean, you can put it wherever the heck you want. Let's try the black watercolor pencil. I just don't want to screw up the painting. Like you guys can't see that either. Oh yeah, I guess you can. If I press really hard, I'm just kind of scared to mess up the painting. Oh well, you can't live your life in fear, right? So we're gonna draw kind of a smushy oval. So it's gonna be kind of flat on the bottom right here. And then you're just gonna round off the sides. And I will have this available for you guys to look at. It'll be on my social media. I'll put a link to the final painting so you can, see how it looks. And you don't want to go too far because we're going to be making that frame for this, so don't go all the way to the edge. And if you're not making the frame, then it doesn't matter. And we're still trying to make our smushy oval here with this thing that doesn't want to draw on here. That's the problem I have with these, is that the watercolor pencils don't draw very well on this. But if I use chalk, you guys can't see it. Well, I can see it, but you guys can't, so that's no fun. And I'm not a fan of like tracing out the image first and then putting the background. I just like to have the background in and then go on top of it. And I usually go on top of it with a white so it's, you know, transparent. So we just made like a little oval shape here. Our pumpkin has all sorts of details in it, but we can really do the details with the paint, I think. Just mapping out where these go, I think it's more important. Okay, so then we have our first little pumpkin friend here. And we're gonna make 3 pumpkins. So our first oval, smushy oval, is right here. And then our second little pumpkin friend is gonna be probably, if you're looking at this one, it's gonna be 1/4 of the way down is where it's gonna start. And we want it a little bit behind our other pumpkin friend because it's behind our other pumpkin friend. And it's a little bit smaller than this one. And if it ends up being close to the same size, it's really not like that big of a deal. It doesn't have to be smaller. And pumpkins are kind of funny little guys anyway. They're not always like perfectly shaped. So if you make a weird wonky pumpkin, well, that is fine. It doesn't really, it's not going to matter that much. Because this is just a rough outline. If you're doing this at home, please do this with chalk and not a pencil. And also, yeah, don't use a watercolor pencil either. I'm having the hardest time getting this across the canvas. You know, I bet would work using a, what do you call them? An oil pastel. Why didn't I ever think of that before? I should use an oil pastel to do this. That way you guys can see it and I can still kind of brush it away. Like the chalk ones, not like the oily oil ones. Or I think they're just called pastels. I don't know what they're called. Yeah, it's an oil pastel. Not like those waxy ones. That'd be a great thing to use. So you guys can kind of see that. We have another little smushy pumpkin shape over here. And then we're gonna have another one like kind of right about here in between these 2 ones. It's much smaller than these 2. These 2 like are roughly the same size, but this one is much smaller. So we're gonna do a smaller smushy oval right here. Maybe, you know, I'm gonna draw this in chalk just because I'm not really explaining to you how to draw it. So I guess it doesn't matter. So we just want a little bit of a smaller smushy pumpkin here. And you want it hiding behind the bottom one. You want it behind these 2. Okay, so now that we have these kind of mapped out, we can go in with our white paint. And you can use some of that glossy medium if you want, or you can just go in with straight white. I think it's probably better to just use straight white because you want this to be as opaque as possible. Okay. So I'm not really going to worry about the shape right now so much. I want to get this kind of blocked in, and then we can kind of work on creating the shape. Or not the shape, but the details. So right now we're just going to make a big white oval, smushy oval. I'm going to use this just to draw the outline of these, and then I'll use a different brush to fill them in because it's going to take way too long if you try to fill these in all the way with this tiny little brush. I just thought this was good to, this will be good to do the details and to kind of draw them in. Our smushy pumpkins. I know they look like weird little, like, you know, they look a little odd right now, but they're gonna be good once we get all our details in. Okay, so I'm gonna switch brushes and I'm gonna fill them in. So just paint them all the way white. I am going to be using this number 5 flat that I was using before. Cheers. So we're going to be putting some shadows on these. to make them look more three-dimensional, and some like ridges. These don't have to be all the way dry. It doesn't really matter so much if they're really dry or not, just because you want it to blend a little bit anyway. So you're going to take a little bit of your Mars Black and your titanium white, and you're going to make a gray color. I would try lighter first versus darker, just because you don't want to like go in with super dark gray at first and then have it look crazy. You know what I mean? It's better to be safe than sorry. So I'm going for like a medium gray color. So more white than black in it. You saw that color. And how we're gonna get this, we'll do these front ones first. We kind of want to find like our center point where our stem's gonna be. I sort of want my, you can do this with gray, but I'm gonna do mine in brown eventually. I'm just gonna put a little dot here so I know where I want my stem. So my stem is gonna be about a quarter way down from the top. And we're just gonna kind of put a dot there just so we know, where it's gonna go. All right, so what we're gonna do is from the point where the stem is gonna go, we're gonna draw or paint kind of like little C shapes, starting from this point where you're gonna put the stem and going towards the bottom of your little pumpkin friend here. And since it's not dry all the way, it's gonna blend. But we are gonna go in with the darker gray anyway towards the end and darken up the edges, because that's how you're gonna get this to look three-dimensional and not so flat. And I think actually I can go in with a little bit of a darker gray because it's blending in and you can hardly see it. So we're gonna go in with our little C shape again from a little bit over from the same point. You can hear that walking, that's my husband. And you're just gonna curve it towards the bottom right here. And then we'll go in with our white again and kind of make this, make the shape. We're just putting this in right now because it's easier to do it this way for me. Not for you to do it a different way. And watch somebody else's tutorial. I'm just kidding. And then we're gonna almost do the C shape again, but we're not gonna curve it as much. So almost, like you're gonna go straight right here, but then towards the bottom, you're gonna start curving it. Okay, so now that we have, well, I think we'll work towards this side too. We're gonna do another one, but this one is gonna be almost like straight. And then it's gonna be like straight, and then it's gonna like curve towards the outside of the pumpkin. So instead of, keep going the same way, we're gonna flip it and go the other way. We're gonna make our C shape going the other direction. Okay, and this one I'm gonna start a little bit further down. It's a little bit too dark, but that's okay. We can just blend it in. Probably easier to see on the camera anyway if it is. Try not to press too hard because you don't want your line too thick. And the reason I'm not using a liner brush is because I don't want these to get like all wonky and weird looking. Okay. We'll do another one like right about here to the edge of the pumpkin, and then keep going, keep kind of making these little C shapes. This is like the other pumpkin, so you don't want to go over that line. And so now this is actually the back of our pumpkin. It's or not the back of the pumpkin. It's kind of almost like it's looking sort of like angled down at it. So what you're gonna do is you're not gonna do C shapes anymore. You're kind of just gonna draw a curved line towards the back of the pumpkin. And I'll kind of just show you what I mean here. Make sure there's not too much paint on there. Okay. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna draw almost like straight at first, and then you're gonna start curving it towards the back. So then like when you get to this one, you're gonna do the same. And then eventually, this is like kind of more straight, this one right here. You don't really want to curve that one. You're going to start doing the same thing, except for you're going to go the other direction. So like right here, you're going to do the same thing, but you're going to curve it in the opposite way. Okay, so these ones, you're going to kind of just go straight and then start curving it down towards the edge of the pumpkin. And then we'll just put another one in here for fun. Not all the way up to the stem, just halfway. So now what we're going to do, since we have our sort of lines here, we're going to go in with just our white again. It's okay if you have a little bit of the gray on there. You do want mainly white, but it's not the end of the world if you mix in a little bit of gray. It'll just give more dimension. So now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of make these like a little bit bubbly where we connected them with that. We're going to make little like, we're going to make these rounded. And the reason I didn't do that at first is that it's easier to do this after, so there will be perfectly even, if that makes any sense. In my mind, it just made more sense to do it this way. See, because then you can make it connect to like exactly where you put your shadows, or you know, the line details. Okay, so we're just gonna keep making our little pumpkin guy here, and drawing these little bubbles. And we're gonna do this all the way around. You're just gonna connect these with a little hump. I want that one. So you want these to kind of follow the shape that you did. You know what I mean? Like if it's going towards the back, you'd want like the bump part to be more like on this side and then go up that way. If that makes any sense. That looks crazy. I don't know why I went so... There's too much paint on my brush, that's why. Okay, I'm not really sure how I'm going to fix that one, but that's okay. I'm not really that worried about it. I almost just ruined my whole painting. A little weird bump isn't going to be the end of the world. Okay. And then as you get towards the back, you don't really have to worry too much about doing the bumps because they're not really that visible towards the back. So like right here, instead of drawing like an extreme one like on the bottom, you're just going to do almost like a, what would that be, like the shape of almost like a teardrop right here. And then you can go back in with your, if you cover it up a little, it's okay, because we can just go back in with our darker color and fix it up, which we're going to do anyway because we have to add more shadow on these. You just don't want a straight line for your pumpkin because that's just going to look weird. See, like this, that's a little too extreme, so I'm going to connect it a little. And then like right here, we can kind of just do a little bit of rounding so it's not straight. And this, we want this one obviously to be in the front, so do a little bit of that. And also with this, we don't want this pumpkin to appear like it's in front of this one, so we want to make sure our strokes are going the right direction. Okay, so we'll go back in with just a liner brush, and not that one. You can do like one like this, or you can do, this is like a number 4, what is it, it's a number 4 liner. This one is a detailer, a number 2. You can use one of these, or you can use one of these. I'll probably just use the detailer at first, and then if I need to go in with that liner brush, I will. Like I was saying, I'm going to take my little liner brush. What we're going to do is we're going to make a lot of these details more pronounced, so this looks more like a pumpkin and not just an odd-shaped ball. We are going to make a little dark gray color here, more leaning towards the black color. Sorry, my son's coughing in the back. So sorry for the glare, if there's a glare on here, and like I dimmed the lighting to try to make it like not as much, but I've just been having the hardest time with my lights because I am too cheap to buy regular lights. So we're gonna like outline this very, like, try to make your line as super thin as possible. If that makes any sense. I'm a little bit distracted because that lighting was just bothering me so much. I couldn't stand it. Honestly, I could not stand it like that. Being like that with that big glare, I felt like you couldn't see anything I was doing. I'm not sure it's any better, but hopefully. Okay. Right, so we're just going to kind of outline these little shapes we did with our detail brush or liner brush or whatever kind of brush you have. That is way too dark. Like, make a gray color or just go in with straight black. Definitely want more white than black to make a gray. You don't want it super light though. You do want it darker, but just not that dark. Okay, so we're just going to kind of outline our pumpkin here. I don't think I like using this brush, but I'm just going to go stick with it. So you're just connecting these like rounded parts here to the bottom of your pumpkin. And the reason we're outlining this is that it's going to make it look a little more 3D. So I've been messing with the lighting, so if I look different or this looks different, it's because I was trying to get this so you guys could see it. And we're just going to continue connecting these and sort of outlining our pumpkin with our dark gray color. My brush is, oh, what the heck is going on with it? The paint's like drying out. I'm just having all sorts of problems today. That's okay, we can overcome it together. The more you get challenged, the more you succeed, right? Feel like you accomplished something. Okay, so we're just gonna keep making our little, heck, I don't like this brush. I'm switching brushes. I'm going to the, I'm gonna go to my liner brush, the number 4 liner, I think that's what this is, yeah. Number 4 liner, into our dark gray color. You can use whatever color you like. It's the black that's actually dried out. Okay, and we're just gonna keep outlining these with our dark gray color. I'm going back to my my flat number 5. I just don't like those tiny little brushes right now. I am just getting frustrated with them gliding across the canvas for some reason. They're just kind of sticking to it, and I keep getting these little like bumps. Even though I would like this to be thinner, that's just not gonna happen right now. I don't have the patience for it. Okay, so when we get here, when we're connecting this one, you're gonna kind of go and make sort of a half circle. You're almost gonna do your C motion, but you're sort of going straight here. And then once you get towards the bottom, that's when you're gonna start curving it downward. To make it even easier, I'm just gonna start there and then curve it upward, and then just connect the 2 lines. What I wanna do now, towards the bottom here, that's where our darkest shadow is going to be. So you're going to go into your Mars Black. So this is where the darkest part of our shadow is going to be. It's on the bottom, and this is going to help it, you know, look a little more realistic. Because if we kind of shade it here at the bottom. It's going to be on this side. Okay, so you're just going to make sure that all of your lines right here are the darkest at the bottom part of your pumpkin, the bottom of the line. And back here, you don't really have to worry about that, just because they're all pretty much going to be the same color. I don't know why I just did that. But now to like blend this, you're just going to make a little bit of a lighter gray color. Mix it, you know, your white and your black together. Make a lighter gray color. It doesn't have to be super light, but you know, just to blend it so it's not such a big contrast. So what you're going to do, make sure you don't have too much paint on there. You're just going to blend this like upward. Mac, your butt smells so bad. My dog is sitting here and he's farting and it stinks really bad. So this is what you're gonna do to make your shadow blend. It's kind of where you have your darkest part. You're just gonna kind of blend it a little bit. And you can kind of put a little bit here on the sides of these lines, because that will just make it look more realistic. Same thing on the other pumpkins. We're going to find our center point. There's way too much paint. I don't know why I have so much paint on that. And my daughter is loud as F. We're going to find not our center point, our point where our stem is. And we're just going to go and start drawing these little sort of C marks, you know, our curved lines. We're just going to continue to make our little sort of C marks. It's really dry. My brush is so dry. With a gray color, with our lighter gray color. You don't want it super dark. These aren't C marks. I don't know. I mean, they're just like curved lines. This one, go that way. And then once you start getting over here towards the side, you're going to start going like straight and then like curving down. And really, you can make as many or as few as you want when you're doing this. One that goes kind of straight and then curves down right here. And then once you get back here, they're gonna just be going almost like straight back. So, you know, you want to follow the shape of the pumpkin. So like you wouldn't make it going that way if you're going toward on the side of the pumpkin. I've been so frustrated filming this and it's taking so much longer than it normally would. I have no idea why, but it kind of sucks. I'm going to keep positive. As my friend RBG says, stay in that mindset. I'm going to stay in that mindset. Thank you for that advice. I got used to doing lives, but I actually think that I'm probably not going to be doing lives. I don't know. I mean, not that I don't enjoy them, but they're kind of difficult for me to do. So I'm just going to start kind of making the shape of these right now with this gray color, just because I feel like that is actually going to be easier. And so I'm just going to round this as I, you know, do this. Instead of going through and doing all of that and then doing it, it's probably faster to just do this and then go in with our dark color. I just don't particularly like the feeling of, it makes me really nervous. I don't know why. And I feel like I have to be, when I'm painting, I have to be really like be in a, almost like a good mood and like a positive mood and a good frame of mind. Otherwise my painting isn't going to turn out as well. And when I videotape, I can take breaks. Like I have, I'm hypoglycemic. I said that in one of my last videos. And when my blood sugar gets really low, I get incredibly irritable and you know what I mean? Like, so it's essential for me to be able to have to eat. So if I'm doing like a 3-hour long live and I'm having blood sugar low, I don't want to be eating in the middle of, I mean, I'm sure people would understand, but I don't really want to be eating in the middle of doing a live video. That's kind of weird. Anyway, so here's to not dying from low blood sugar. It's really not funny, is it? I love how I like to make a joke out of anything. It's good though, right? You gotta be able to laugh at your Laugh at your weaknesses. Laugh at your weaknesses and celebrate your strengths, right? That's a great way to think. I think, at least. You know, self-deprecation. Don't take yourself so seriously. I know I used to have a lot of people that would say to me, oh, you know, you're always making fun of yourself or blah, blah, blah. Well, don't take life so seriously. It makes, you know, you should make fun of yourself. It makes life way more fun. Way too much pain on this. I feel so much more relaxed after I had all of that, everything wrong happen, which is so funny. I feel like, you know what, I dropped my painting, my easel broke, my lighting was messed up. What could really go that wrong? My dog was farting on me. You know what I mean? I feel like nothing else could be, you know, nothing could be worse than what has happened. So now I might as well just sit back and enjoy painting this. Okay, so when you get to like this side, when you start making your little like curved guys, my paint is drying out so fast because I'm taking so long to do this. At this point right here, you're gonna want to like, see how this line curves like that? You're gonna wanna keep following that sort of direction. So when you curve this out, you're gonna wanna, I mean, it's obvious for me, but like for somebody else that might not be obvious. You're not gonna wanna like, like go way outside of what you were doing. That makes, I don't think that even makes any sense. Okay, so I'm just gonna continue to make my little bubble shapes and connect these. Okay, so we can go in with our black now and outline this. I'm gonna try to pick up the pace a little, just because this video is gonna be way too long if I don't. And I'm sure a lot of this is gonna be fast forwarded. You're just gonna go along your outside and outline it in black or light dark gray, just because you want the outline of this to be darker. One, because the shadow would be darker anyway, and two, to make it look more, you know, 3D, more dimension. Oh, water would be helpful. Okay. My phone's trying to come down here and I can hear like everything. Okay, so we're just outlining this. I probably could just like fast forward this since we already did our other one. Like this. Oh my gosh, my posture is getting so bad from painting like this. If somebody wants to start a Patreon for me and get me a new easel and a new camera, that would be awesome. I'm just kidding. Yeah, so what we're gonna do now is we're going to darken up our lines a little bit towards the bottom of our painting here, like where the natural shadow would be on our pumpkins. So you want this inside part to be darker on the bottom of your pumpkin. These ones don't matter so much in the back because the lighting really isn't going to affect it that much, or where the lighting is hitting this naturally, like in the photo I'm looking at that I can't show you guys because I would get copyright infringement and I don't want to say that too loud, so if you can't understand my mumbling, I'll put a caption down here. I'm just kidding. Anyway, now we're going to take our gray color and connect all of that like we did last time. Add some water to that. So we're going to make a nice little gray color. And so towards the bottom of this, where we're going to, oh, that's way too much paint, where we're going to have our shadow. We're just going to, who is that? Hey, boo, what's up? Just hanging out? We are just going to make our shadow towards the bottom here. What's up? That's like so much paint on there. I don't know how I got so much paint. You could at least say hi. You can't do that because then they're not going to be able to see what I'm painting. Don't you want them to see what I'm painting? You don't know. Hey, please. You can stay down here. Just don't move those games because if those games move, then the light falls and then I have to set everything up again. What am I talking about? What do you mean, what am I talking about?
We're talking about you.
I ain't talking about me, boy. There's animal in them. Okay, so we're just going to do our little shadow here on the bottom of these. If you want to make a shadow, you know, on the one side where the light would be hitting. Our brush is so dry. No, please don't do that.
Okay.
Okay, so this is where our shadow would be. Can you stop, dude?
I take candy box right here.
Huh? Because that's just how it is. Don't play with Jenga right now, please, dude. Okay, and we're just gonna kind of try to blend this a little bit better. At least I am. With some white paint. I guess my son got bored with this, which is good. So I'm just gonna take some white paint and try to blend this a little bit better. This white pumpkin is slowly turning into a gray pumpkin, which if I wanted a gray pumpkin, I would have just made a gray pumpkin. We are going to be doing our third one, our third little pumpkin here. So what we're going to do is we are going to do the exact same thing in the exact same way as we did the other ones. We're going to find our point where our stem is going to be, and we're going to kind of just draw a little dot where we want our stem on our small pumpkin here. Well, they're all kind of the same size, but that's okay. No worries, right? And we're just going to do the same thing that we did on the other ones, kind of like these sort of like half circle wheelie dealies. Okay. And then this one right here, we're going to almost draw straight, but then when it's going to curve up like towards the stem there. And then like the other ones, as they get towards the back, you're going to start almost drawing them straight, and then you're going to curve them straight. And then once you get like over here, you're going to start curving it down. And then if your brush starts feeling dry, either put it in the water or put it back in your paint. Or both. Okay, so if you want to, since we're used to making our kind of like the shape of our pumpkin, you can just go ahead and connect it now. So you can kind of start making that shape. Right there. Do that. We'll move on to, or move over to this side here. So just like the other side, you're almost going to do straight, you know, angling down. And then you're going to start curving it where the pumpkin would curve. And this is going to make it look three-dimensional. Three-dimensional, 3D, whatever you want to say. That's how you're going to get the curves of your pumpkin. So once you get over here, this is where you're going to start curving it down. And if you want to connect it now, you can. Kind of the same color as the outside, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. You can't really see it. So right here, you're just going to go straight out, and then you're going to curve down. Then once you get towards the back, you're going to curve it like this. And these kind of just sort of almost go straight out once you get them to the back, to get closer to the back. So see, you're just going to do like almost like a straight line, and then you can curve it whatever direction you want once you connect all of these with your darker color. So then we're going to go in to our darker color. You can either do dark gray or black or whatever floats your boat. And just like the other ones, on the bottom half of this, you're going to, I'm sorry, that's not funny. My son is so sassy, it's crazy. Okay. So on the bottom of this, you're gonna, like right here where this is behind, you're just gonna darken that part. So just darken it towards the bottom. And back here, you can kind of just put it whatever direction you want for that. Your hand's stuck. Try not to put your hand on your painting, but I find like I have better stability when I do that. You know, it's not a good practice. Otherwise, my lines are all wonky and crazy. Okay, we're gonna darken it up with I'm gonna go in with a detail brush because I just can't get a clean of the line with this one. Go straight into my black and into some of that glazing medium. And I'm just going to outline this with the black. And you can kind of like bring it up higher if you want to give it more definition. So really you're just gonna like kind of outline this little. Try to keep your line pretty thin when you're doing this, just because the thicker the line, the more you can see the black, and you don't really want like a big thick line of black. Yeah, at least I don't. If you do, that's fine, but I don't. So you want to keep this more towards the bottom because that's where your shadow is going to be, the bottom of the pumpkin. Paint is drying out really fast because of that stuff, and that's good if you were like doing something like this, but in this detail work you don't really want your brush to dry out very quickly, because then that means it's actually going to take you longer in the long run, because you're going to be you're going to have to keep dunking back in your paint constantly. I don't know why that's so wet. About to drip. Okay, so after we get this all lined like this, we're going to go in with our shadows again. We did like a lighter gray color. So we're going to go in with a lighter gray color to kind of blend this up. You definitely want more white than black in that. You should see how I mix this. It's pretty funny. I like start from like a darker and I like ombre it into the color that I want. Anyway, so I'm going to concentrate this like more like on the bottom where we would have our natural shadows. Okay, so then you're just going to keep working this like lighter and lighter because you want it to blend up towards the top. You don't want it like super white, but you don't want it dark either. I'm just going to take your color and just blend it into each other. There's no lines anywhere. That's super important. And if you can try to work this in while your paint is still wet, that's even better because it'll blend way easier. And you want to keep your strokes kind of going with the direction of, like, you know, how you made these little, I don't know what you call them, bumps. I don't know what they're called. And the reason you want to do that is because that is going to help. That's only going to help with the illusion of what direction these are going. You know, to give it that, if you keep the strokes in the shape of what you're drawing, or like, you know, the angle of what you're drawing, it's going to kind of trick the eye into thinking that's actually like more full or you know, that it's going to help the dimension or the optical illusion that it's actually rounded. Get that. My hair's starting to come undone. Curled up my bangs, but they're just falling out. Okay, so that's pretty good. It could be a little bit more blended, but I mean, I could sit here all day and do this. I really could, which I haven't. So, you know, you just got to move on eventually. You can darken up some of the edges if you want with your liner brush and your black paint. If you want to go in and do that real quick, make sure there's not too much paint on there. I do always think that sort of helps to go in and kind of refine this a little bit because, you know, once you blend it, you do sort of lose that. But you don't want to go too crazy because you did all that blending and then, you know, that's going to be pointless to keep going back in. But, you know, that's what makes a great painting. When you take the time and put the love and energy into it, that's only going to help it. You know, Lovepraypaint. So, yeah, if you want to just go in and kind of, like, you know, help some of these little lines if you know, lost some of them. Like I said, that's only going to help your painting. We can go in and do our stems now. We're not going to use gray or black for our stems. We're going to make them brown. You're going to want to get your burnt sienna. This is like my favorite brown. If you ever notice, I always use burnt sienna. I don't really like mixing my own brown. If you can buy it, it's like kind of like, why not if you can afford it? And even if you can't, it's still worth it. Because, well, when it speeds up the process, I never used to believe this. I used to believe that you could just, well, you can just get your basic primary colors and make any color you need with those. But that slows down the process of your painting. If you don't want to spend like 4 hours painting something, look at my hair, it looks crazy. If you don't want to spend like 4 hours painting something, well, sometimes if you know, need a purple, instead of mixing it, just buy the purple. You know what I mean? Sometimes that can be easier, especially if you're first starting out. It's really difficult to mix colors. I was going to go through and do a whole series on mixing colors and stuff. I still might do that, but I'm trying to like not take this so seriously and just have fun with it, just because, you know, this is not my main career, obviously, making YouTube videos. I just, you know, I will finish that series. It's just, I'm having fun just doing the painting tutorials for now. So be looking out for that. I don't know when it's coming, but for right now, we're just gonna, long story short, we're just gonna use our burnt sienna instead of mixing our own brown. Cause ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. I'm probably gonna get copyrighted for that, right? I'm just kidding. So you're gonna want to take a smaller brush when you do this. Make sure your brush is clean. You probably want clean water. Mine is not, because I got really frustrated. I had to stop, and it took me a really long time. I had to fix my lighting. So I ain't got time. Get up, then go fix my water. Usually I have 2, today I didn't. It's just, everything's working against me. Maybe I'm working against myself, right? I bet that's what it is. Okay, so we're gonna make our stems finally. And what you're gonna wanna do, where you made your little dot for your stem, just draw like a half circle. You can make them as big as or small as you want. You definitely want the base to be bigger than the top. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna, you can make it straight, you can make it curly, you can make it however you want. I'm just gonna curve mine sort of like up that direction. That's the way it is in the picture of the pumpkin that I'm looking at. So we're just gonna kind of follow what I'm looking at here. I always like using a reference photo, and that's another thing. If you're making an original painting, I mean, by all means, go ahead and try to use your memory. It's really hard to paint based on what you think something looks like. Do you get what I'm saying? Like if you were painting a tree and you just painted a tree without looking at a tree, well, the tree might end up looking not like a tree. It might look like a stick, or, you know, whatever. My point is, it's a lot easier using a reference photo than not using a reference photo. But the more you paint, the more you don't have to rely on reference photos. That is true. The longer you paint, the better you'll get at not having to use a reference photo. We're just gonna go ahead, and you don't have to use your detail brush to fill this in. I just am, because it's in my hand. It's going on super dry. Don't want that. Okay, and we're not just going to leave our stem like a block of brown, because, well, that just doesn't look very realistic. what we are going to do is, oh my gosh, my brush has like these little hairs sticking out. And it's kind of messing up my, you know, I really loved these at first, these Master Touch. I was like, God, these are really great quality for cheap brushes, but, I don't know. So what we're gonna do is you can just take some of your white and make a lighter brown. And we're gonna do some highlighting here to make this a little more realistic. So if you ever notice on the tip of a stem, there's like a little, sort of like a little circle-y dealy here. We can highlight that even more white. Oh, that has so much paint on it. So you're gonna wanna do a little, you don't want it too light because then you're not gonna be able to see it because it's gonna blend in with a, and it's okay if you get like a muted, almost, oh my gosh, my husband's thing. A muted color here because, or like a muddy almost looking. Well, one, you're working with brown, and two, I'm gonna draw the little ridges here that are on the stem. And so what you can do to add more dimension, so we are gonna go into our black, but we're gonna switch brushes. We're gonna go back to our liner brush because you want a super thin line when you do this. You're gonna outline your stem with the black. I mean, I guess you could have done this instead of doing the brown in the first place. I didn't really think of that, but you definitely could have. It probably would have been faster and easier that way, but Lord knows I never do things in the right way ever. Okay, so outline your little circle at the top. And then you can darken up your brown too, your burnt sienna, and do a couple little texture lines on here with your black. And you can always go back in with the white, and once that dries, and add a little more highlight onto it. That's probably what we're gonna do. So I guess we can just go in with our black for the other one, since I figured that's probably easier. Oh Lord, I'm starting to get hungry. Uh-oh. We don't want to release the beast. Okay. So we're gonna do our little rounded bottom, and then we're gonna kind of curve it inward, and we're gonna make this one, I'm gonna make mine curving off to this side. And remember, we're gonna be filling this in with brown, so if it looks crazy, it doesn't really matter because you're gonna just block it in with brown. So this, I want my stem to go that direction. I'm just gonna draw like a little curved line, and the bottom is gonna be like a half circle. Okay, so you can put it any direction you want, really. I kind of just wanted mine curving in that way. This liner brush is all crazy. It's like gotten, here's the thing, it's like it's gotten curved, and it was straight when I first bought it. It's probably my fault because I let it sit in the water, but I feel like it shouldn't completely lose its shape. You know what I mean? I don't know. This brown has really dried out too. All right, so yeah, to me, buying, like, I bought the Master's Touch paint, and honestly, like, it's okay. I mean, it's fine and all, but ruh-roh, we're about to have a catastrophe here. It's okay, but just for, like, if you go to like Hobby Lobby or Michael's or wherever you go, it's only $1. Honestly, I didn't even realize this. It's only $1 more to buy the Liquitex Basics, and that to me is so much better. It is like tenfold better to me than the Master's Touch. We've got that kind of filled in with our brown. I think I'm gonna let that one dry a little bit and just move on to this one. And I'm not using that liner brush to outline the black because that was just all wonky all over the place. So what we're gonna do is our other little stem here, right where we made our mark. Really, my head hasn't been in the way the whole time. What if my head was in the way the whole time? That would suck. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna do our little half circle. I'm gonna make this one curving towards this way. This way, I mean, whatever direction I'm pointing right now. I want it to kind of be a little more curly. Paint, it just dries out so fast. That's the reason I don't like it. It's like goopy and dries out, and that is not ideal. Nobody wants goopy, dry paint, and I find that the Master's Touch does not do that. All right, so we are gonna fill this in with Master's Touch. I mean, you can tell I'm hungry because I'm starting to mix up my words. We are gonna fill this in with brown, and then I start painting like crazy. Like, it won't make any sense. It will look crazy. Like, by the end of my last live last time, I was so friggin' hungry that my painting ended up turning like completely crazy. To me, it looked crazy. Okay, so that's kind of a little fat stem. Sort of like them. We're gonna make a light brown with our sienna and our white. More white than brown. Okay, so I'm gonna go and kind of like add some more highlights on this one because I feel like it could use it a little bit. Just for the dimension of it. To me, it just kind of looks a little flat. It's way too light. Yeah. So we're just gonna kind of highlight it a little bit, or make it look like those little ridges that are in pumpkin stems. This one's still wet, so it may not work as well. Oops, that didn't agree. I want that color. Okay. It's really not that wet. Okay. So now that those look more like stems, we can, I kind of think that needs to be outlined a little bit darker. See, this is what I do. I start picking at the painting, and then I spend forever kind of like doing these details, and I really don't have the time to do that. Okay, anyway, what we're gonna do now is, oh, look at those, are so cute. Okay, so what we're gonna do now, you can add like little shadows under these if you want to. I'll just kind of show you how to do it. I really didn't want to do that, but just if you want them to actually look realistic, which I'm not really trying to do, considering the gray and white pumpkins. I mean, there are white pumpkins, but they're not really like gray. You're going to mix a kind of a really dark gray. Not too dark, but you have to, like, when you have to know where your light source is coming from. Like, our light source is kind of coming from like above, I would say, since we kind of did curve them this way. You would kind of think our light source was like right here. So you're gonna want, like, if it was casting this way, our shadow would kind of be right here. So what you can do, you can kind of just make it under the whole thing. You see what I mean? Like this. But you want, like, wherever your light is coming from, you want the shadow to be longer on that side. And if you want to blend it in, just take your finger and kind of run it underneath there. And this is going to kind of give it, you know, make it look a little more realistic, I guess, if you wanted to do that. I'm not really worried about that because I just don't, yeah, I don't really care if it looks real or not because I don't want it to. It's supposed to be like a vintage, you know, sort of art. Like, remember, like, those, say if you like bought some seeds and you got a packet of seeds and it would have those little like vintage pumpkins on it, or like I remember when I was little and my grandma had, like, I don't know if they were like, if they stuck like window clings, I don't remember what they were, but they had like little pumpkins on them, and they were so cute and kind of like old school looking. That's kind of what I had my inspiration from. My grandma was much older, so, you know, she was probably, like, when she passed away when I was 16 or 17. I can't remember my exact age. She was like 86, I think. So she was like she was older grandma. Anyway, so she had really, really vintage stuff. Super vintage. Anyway, enough of that backstory. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna, you can write whatever you want. I think, like, for mine, I think it'd be really pretty or great if you put like harvest greetings. I think I'm gonna put be grateful on mine just because I always like try to be grateful for everything, and especially during this season, you know, like Thanksgiving, you know, comes up in November, and obviously you're giving thanks. So I think I'm gonna write that on mine. For my lettering, I'm just gonna try to do. I'm gonna try to do a really just like a cursive. Yeah, I'm just gonna try to do like in black lettering. Be grateful. So if you want, I would recommend writing this out before you do this step, just because I don't know, you don't know how it's gonna like end up. This is where this stuff is awesome. The fluid. You could just mix it in right in with your black paint. And the reason it's so great is because it's gonna help your brush kind of glide across that paper, and it won't catch. That is the worst thing ever when you're trying to do lettering and your brush catches or it slides. You know, that's kind of scary. Okay. I don't want to make this too big, but I want people to be able to see it, obviously. And I'm not the best at lettering, so this looks crazy. Forgive me. Yeah. Lettering is not my strong suit. Actually, that looks pretty good. I don't want to toot my own horn or anything, but okay. And then, you know, if it's not dark enough or thick enough, obviously you're just gonna go back over it until you get it the oh my gosh, what the heck? This is definitely not gliding across my paper. Or I mean my canvas. It's kind of sticking. There, it's stuck a little bit, but that's okay. I want that to kind of flick up. Why aren't you flicking up? Okay. I'm gonna have to go over that so it's darker, but at least I have the base thing written out. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so hope this stays even, and I hope you guys can see. If you're wondering what I'm looking at what I did is I Googled it and then I just hit images, and then whatever text I thought like looked the coolest, that's kind of like what I'm using as my reference. Okay, so then when it starts sticking like that, you want to go back into your paint. I wonder if it would be easier with my detail brush to do this, just because it's just not working how it did before. Oh, it's sticking to my painting. These aren't connected in this, but it's gonna bother me if it's not. Do our F. Oh, they made their F all sorts of sassy. And then we want to do our U. Sorry, I'm so quiet when I do this, but really hard. Like I said, it's really hard for me to do lettering. So I'm just going to go over this and darken it up. That's kind of just to give you an idea of, you know, if you were doing some lettering on there, like what to do or how to do it. So I'm just gonna darken mine up and actually thicken it up. It's a little bit too thin. Probably use my detail brush to do that. And then we'll meet back here. Now that we are done with our painting, sorry for this big mess, that's what happens when you paint, it gets messy. We are going to be making our frame. So you're gonna need your hot glue. Make sure it's obviously plugged in and warmed up. Now that our painting's all done, we are going to be making our cool frame. You're gonna need 4 sticks, roughly the size of your 8x10 or whatever size you're gonna, I mean, I just collected these outside, obviously. That's what you're gonna wanna do. And if you have a stretch canvas, you can still do this. Still glue these right either on the sides of the stretch canvas or in the front of the stretch canvas. So you can glue these right onto here, or you can glue them together first. I think it's probably easier to just glue them right on here. So I'm gonna, well, that's the long one. And like, I feel like if they have like these little like fun like things hanging off, or like these things, I mean, they're freaking branches. The twigs, like if they have that, it kind of adds to the fun. You could just put one at the top and one at the bottom if you wanted. I'm gonna glue it all the way across. So do this at your own risk. I am gonna put the glue not on the paper. I'm gonna put the glue onto the stick because you want to follow the shape of the stick, not the shape of the paper. Just gonna put it on the side that you want to glue it down on. You have to work fast if you're using hot glue because it dries so fast. If you're using regular glue, you don't have to, but I don't think regular glue will hold up that well on this. Crap. I think I bought that glue gun at the Dollar Tree. No, there's no way I bought that at the Dollar Tree. What I'm talking about. You want to get this as close to the edge as you can. If it doesn't, if the whole thing doesn't stick to it, it's fine. Like if it hangs over the top of it, that's fine. So you just want to give it a second to dry before you try to like pick it up. I'm just gonna let that one dry. I'm gonna do the top and then the bottom first, and then I'll put the 2 side ones on. Because if you try to do the sides, like if you try to glue the sides on, then it's not gonna work because they have to lay on top of the sides have to lay on top of the bottom and the top. Otherwise it won't stay connected to your canvas. I mean, that does not make any sense when I say it. It makes sense in here, but it's not translating out of here. So hopefully you understand what I'm saying. Which one is shorter? This one's shorter. I want to save the long ones for the sides of the canvas. And you can always, like, if these are too long, just trim, like, break off I want this one a little bit smaller. And it just adds to the charm if it is like a little bit too big for the piece of paper. So you're just gonna put the glue onto the stick. And if you want to, I think would be so cute if you put some twine on the top of it before you even glue it down. Well, you don't have to do it before you glue it down because if you have pieces that hang over, tie some twine on each side, like some string so you can hang it. That'd be really cute. I don't have any twine, so I'm not gonna do that. I am going to get some, however, so I can hang it. Okay. So I'm just going to let that dry for a second before I lift it up to show you how I put it on there. I mean, there's no way I could have, I don't have a camera that goes above or mount to do that. So we'll just wait till it dries. I wish I could have shown up close like how to do that, but as long as you can see the visual, you can understand how to do it. My hair's driving me crazy. Sorry, I always futz with my hair when it's down. Ooh. What am I trying to say? I have no idea. All right, brain farts again. Never good. I don't know if that's on there. Okay, I think it's sticking pretty good. So this is kind of like how it looks so far, like this. And if it didn't attach somewhere, just like re-glue it down, obviously. Like on mine, like the top didn't attach. It must have dried before I got it on there. Right here it didn't. So you can just like glue it down after. I just think this is so cute. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do this, honestly. I really don't. I'm like, I was trying to think, I was like, how can I frame this for like super inexpensive so it can still look kind of like, not like kitschy, but you know what I mean? So it can still look kind of like cool and polished. And if you had birch twigs, that would be like killer. That would be beautiful with this. That was a little enthusiastic. So we're just gonna, like for the side ones, I'll show you how to lay them after I get this on here. I'm just gonna glue this. Make sure you have enough glue on it. And like I said, if it dries, it's gonna be fine. Put more on the ends because that's kind of where it's gonna stick. Get it? I'm just kidding. That's not funny. I don't know what the hell is wrong with me sometimes. I guess you don't really have to put glue on the whole thing because I just realized it's not going to touch the other part at all. Just want to make sure like this bottom one and the top one are on there pretty good because otherwise it's going to fall off. And yeah, you don't have to put glue all the way down on these side ones. Like you don't have to go all the way down, I realized, because it's not going to be touching it at all. Mine is a little bit, so I'll just put a little bit of glue there. And then right here, and then right here. And now I'm gonna attach it. I'm gonna let this dry for a second and then I can kind of show you guys how it ended up looking. I think I put this one in too far, but that's okay. I like it. Make sure that's dry. Ah! Mine came off, sorry. I might go over this with super glue to be quite honest. It's because my glue is not moving very well. I don't want it falling apart. That's for darn sure. Okay. Maybe it's ready to pick up. Like, oh god, I hate when that happens, like when my bangs like separate right there. Urgh. Makes me wanna hurt somebody. No, it doesn't. I don't know why I said that. Okay. Hopefully this is like on here. Because when I pick it up, I don't want it to fall apart. Is this ready to pick up? Okay, so this is how it looks when it's done. So this is how you're going to attach these. I mean, and if you have glue hanging out like that, you can just pull it off after. Not a big deal. And if you want to attach this like that so it's not hanging, I probably will do that eventually. But this is like how it looks. Anyway, see, that's the final painting. And I hope you guys had fun. And what I mean by attach a string is kind of tie the string like right here or like on the end of this, wind it around, and then just do a regular knot. And then, well, twine or rope I think would be the cutest. And then you're going to leave enough so when you hang it, it'll just hang like perfectly. Or if you have any space right here, you can just obviously use that, or you can put like a command thing, you know, like those command, what the hell are those called? Oh, I said the H word. Those command stickies. But anyway, this is it. So you can see this, be grateful. Thanks for hanging out with me. Bye. Please like and subscribe if you made this. Oh, and I always forget to say this. If you guys make these, can you please tag me on it? Just put like at Lovepraypaint, like, you know, pound Lovepraypaint. That's the hashtag I use. And hashtag me and post your, either you can send them to me on Facebook or you can on Instagram or Twitter. Just, I love when people like recreate these, and if I can see it, I'll share it. I mean, I don't have a million followers. Maybe I will someday though, but I'll share it on my page. I am more than happy to do that. I would love if you guys did that. So anyway, yep, that's our little kind of farmhouse inspired pumpkins with our Be Grateful. I was gonna say one more thing. What was it? I don't know. Just, you know, love, pray, and paint. Love, pray, paint. Alrighty. Oh yeah, like and subscribe. Subscribe and like. I don't want to do that. Anyway, bye guys. Have an awesome day, an awesome weekend. I hope you enjoyed this and you recreate it. It means the world to me. It means the world to me. So bye. Hope you like it. Yeah. Jesus. Dunked my whole brush in the black paint like a ding dong. So you're just gonna draw these little, like, you know, not draw, paint these little, So when I was painting, my painting just fell face down onto the floor, and look, it didn't get ruined. Oh my god, I was so freaked out.
Have on your iPod. Okay, this is the test. This is the test. This is the test. Don't put this in. Woo. Woo. Wait, your headphones aren't plugged in. Okay. Wait, why is this? Okay. Alright, I'm gonna tell one joke. Yeah. Is this going to be the real video? Yes. Hey, can you stop? You sound like Ross on Friends when he got his little Casio, like, piano. It's a random joke. You can say whatever I want. It's my video.
This is the test.
This is a test. I'm gonna tell one Norm Macdonald joke every time I make a video. It's gonna be my test.
It's just the
Kenny G will be releasing a CD fully comprised of Christmas songs. The songs will be Happy Birthday Jesus, Hope You Feel Like Crap. Hey! Can I get a round of applause? I'll be here all night. I'll be here all night. That was like the worst joke ever. I didn't like that one.
Tell the Dirty Johnny joke.
I can't. So this guy went into a podiatrist's
That's
office.
not Dirty Johnny.
I don't know Dirty Johnny. So this moth went into this podiatrist's office. And the podiatrist said, hey, why are you visiting a podiatrist's office? And the moth said, because the light was on. Hey! Okay, that's enough.
Okay, this is a test, right?
You're not made for that one, Rena.
It was a joke.